Hello everyone, welcome to another Voice Essentials live hangout. It is so good to be with you again today, and it's Monday, so that means we're going to hang out for the next 30 or 40 minutes together and talk about a topic in regards to your singing. I hope you've all had a great weekend. Some of you are still, in fact many of you are still finishing your weekend. Of course, if you're watching this as a replay, you too are welcome. This is a live show. We do it every Monday at 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, because that's where I am. I'm in Brisbane, Australia, which is on the eastern seaboard. If you know the continent of Australia, then you might be able to go looking for us. The weather's been, well, it's been a bit funny over the weekend. We've sort of had, gone from hot and sticky to at the moment it's a bit overcast. What is it like in your part of the world? And regardless of whether you're watching it live or if you're watching this in replay, let us know where you're watching from. It's always good to interact with so many of you from all over the world, and we love to have people not just watching the live show, because that's who we interact with during the live show, but we also love to have people watching after the fact, and the facts are many of you do. In fact, most of you do watch the show after the show has gone live. That being said, I can see that the live chat is going off today, and Matt and Yahui and Darren, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce your name, Darren, but so many people jumping in for today's live chat, which I'm really pleased with, because today is we won't be doing a live chat next week. So we won't be doing a live event next week because it is Easter Monday. And so here in Australia, we have a public holiday, and so I'm not going to do a live show because I'm going to have the day off. I do subscribe and follow the Christian faith, so it is our Holy Week coming up for Christians, and so we've got Good Friday coming up, and then Easter Sunday, and then Easter Monday. So I will be taking some time off and looking forward to a bit of a break, I must say. It has been a long term. It's been a really long term. This has been a 13 or 14 week teaching term for me, so it's been a long stint. But one of the highlights for me is always these hangouts that we do together, and so I love the fact that you guys jump in and join me at this time every week so that we can talk about our mutual passion for singing. Just before we get into today's topic, we're going to be talking about pitch, and we're going to be talking about pitch accuracy and tuning up and what can we do to be doing those things. And I've got I'm going to be showing you a piece of software, and we're going to be talking about pitch driven. We'll get to that in a moment. Before I do, I just want to answer a question. I've been receiving a lot of requests recently, more so in the last 6 weeks than before, asking me to do reaction videos to singers and what have you. And I must admit, I have been very tempted to do them because I have observed that there are a number of other channels on YouTube that are getting tremendous growth and interest out of these reaction sort of style videos, where they show a video down in the bottom right hand corner or left hand corner, whichever corner they put it in, and then they talk to it, and they review and assess the singer, and there's a lot of interest. But I needed to double check what are the copyright laws around that, because I wasn't sure, and what I don't want to put at risk for us as a community here at Voice Essentials, because that's what we are. This is not just a channel, right? This is a community of people that come together, every week, and we talk about our mutual passion for singing and developing our voices, and I don't want to do anything that puts that at risk. And so I reached out to a good friend of mine. He actually happens to be one of the world's leading experts when it comes to YouTube, and his name is Tim Schmoyer. And I feel very honoured and privileged to have direct contact with him. And I've helped him with his voice over the years, and he's helped me with my singing, with my YouTube channel. And I just checked with him. I said, Tim, you know, could I do these reaction videos? His response actually was what I wasn't that surprised by his response. And his response simply said that he advised me to not do them because they are exposed to copyright infringement. For those of you who don't know, the copyright rules around YouTube is at the moment, for example, there's a number of people doing these live these reaction videos where they'll show the video, and what they're actually doing is piping in that video from YouTube. The algorithms around YouTube are so good that the algorithm can actually go through and pick up the robots that do all the copyright infringement, whatever. They're able to tell that you are playing someone else's video. And what can happen is the owner of that video, at any point in time, whether it be now or in 3 years' time or in 20 years' time, can make a decision to place a copyright infringement notice against the person that has used that video. And so you'll have noticed that even back when I did, we talked about Fergie and we talked about Pink's performance of the US national anthem. I did not show the video because I was concerned that it would expose me to that copyright infringement. Potentially, it makes me vulnerable to that. It makes our channel, our community vulnerable to that. And so Tim has confirmed that that would be the case. And so I am not going to be doing reaction videos because I do not want to expose us as a community to that infringement, because if that were to happen, it's 3 strikes and you're out. So unfortunately, many of these channels that are doing these reaction videos, whilst right now they might be okay, they are now vulnerable unless they go back and delete said videos. They are now vulnerable to and exposed to copyright infringement. It's a little bit like skating on thin ice. Sometimes you'll get away with it and sometimes you won't. I'm a bit risk adverse, so I'm not going to be doing that. Just wanted to let you all know because I've been receiving a lot of requests to do reaction videos, and so I have decided, unless there are significant changes to the law, which I don't foresee, I've decided that I'm not going to be doing those. Just wanted to let you all know where I stand on that so that you guys can all be well over understanding why I'm not being responsive to some of your requests. Your requests are all coming from the right place, but I did want to let you know why I won't be doing them. So without further ado, I hope you all stick around because we're going to talk about pitch.
Sound check. Check 1, check 2.
Okay, so today we're talking about pitch, and it is, you know, I've got this bad habit, haven't I, during the live hangouts to talk about controversial subjects, and today, I guess, is no different. We're going to be talking about this thing that captivates so many of us when it comes to learning to sing. I'm just going to bring up. I want to show you this page here. Let me get rid of that and that and that. Oh, no, that's not going to help. Hang on. My apologies, everyone. Let's try that again. There I am. Okay. So I asked a question on the channel community tab. For those of you who don't know, you can jump across to the channel page, and you can just come down here and you can have a look at the community tab, which is just at the top here. And I'm at least once a week I'll often post a notice about the next video coming up, or I'll post a question or a statement, or a whole range of different things. And the last couple of weeks I've posted questions where we can vote. And I asked this question this last Friday, well, no, was it Saturday? When learning to sing, how much importance do you place on singing in tune? It's kind of a bit of a loaded question, isn't it, to be honest? Because we know that singing in tune has some importance, but I was so keen to just see where everyone's sitting on this. Have a look at the response, and I was particularly interested by this. So we've had 368 votes, nearly, over 350 people have jumped on and offered their feedback on this, which is fabulous in and of itself. And what I've rated it here is from 5 down to 1, 1 being absolutely no importance whatsoever. 1%, I don't know how many people that would equate to with 368 people, but 1% of respondents believed that it was of no importance whatsoever. And then it sort of gradually climbs up, 2%, and then 9% believe it's important but not crucial. 35% somewhere between the top one and the middle one. And then, of course, over 50% of respondents believe nothing is more important than singing in tune when it comes to learning to sing. I was also interested by some of the responses. I just want to come down here and have a look at a few of them. Dominic says here, I try to focus on right technique and exploring my voice, but I can't get rid of what if a wrong tone slips. And I think that's the biggest challenge facing everyone, facing people in their thought around this. One particular comment that I think I really resonated with, and I want to come down here, and it was this one here. Guys, you know how bad I am pronouncing names. Giuliano, would that be correct? I hope so. Martinez has written here, it's important but not crucial. I took two singing courses, and we had like 5 teachers. They all told us the same. When you start, it is recurrent to be a little flat or sharp, but breathing, posture and relaxation are more important since ear training comes rather easily with good foundations. So I take this as when just starting, one should focus on breathing and being relaxed while producing sound, then focus on tuning, then adding color. For the average human being, training the scales up and down build the tuning quite fast. And I guess that's kind of where I sit. I probably, to be honest with you, I think the reality of the modern era probably sits me more towards 4 than 3. I personally, so I'm outing myself here as a person who doesn't believe it's the most important thing. You've heard me say it here many times, haven't you? Singing is not about perfect notes. Singing is about communication. Do you need perfect notes to communicate? No, you don't. Are they beneficial? Yes. And that's where I sit here. When it comes to nothing is more important, it's a matter of recognizing the chicken before the egg. What is the most important thing? And I personally think that more often than not, when learning to sing, good intonation, good pitch comes about as a result of better management of tension, better alignment, better tonal shaping. And the more we're learning about acoustical resonance, the more we're understanding the acoustical shape and space that the sound has to travel through impacts the pitch. It's not purely an ear to laryngeal vocal fold length oscillation issue. There is more going on. And so when we direct a new singer to going, come on, you're off pitch there, you're not singing in tune, the beginner singer is likely to seek out strategies or ways of fixing that pitch through inefficient voicing. So they will create tension and tightness and the way I describe this, very similar to, it's a bit like learning to ride a bike. And I've taught 3 kids to ride a bike. Actually, little secret, I only really taught 2 of my kids to ride a bike because in the end, it was actually my eldest daughter that taught my youngest daughter to ride a bike. And it was one week when we were on camping and we'd bought Taran a new bike, my youngest, but in doing so, my eldest child ended up teaching Taran to ride while her old man was off sitting on a camp chair somewhere relaxing. So I've at least taught 2 children to ride a bike. We did start with all of our children, we started them using what here in Australia we call training wheels. And they're basically 2 wheels that sit off the centre wheel. And many of you will have seen them before. And they help to keep the child upright. They don't quite sit on the ground at the same level. But if the child comes off centre, then what will happen is they hit that training wheel and it keeps the bike upright. They're fabulous when the child is first learning because it means the child can't fall off the bike. The challenge is that as the child becomes more confident and they want to develop speed, they want to start turning quickly or sharply when they, where we camp at Christmas time, there's a bike track which has got, for the kids, which has got jumps and mounds and, the kids want to go down those. But if you've got training wheels on your bike, it makes all of these things so much more challenging. So yes, it does, the training wheels do keep the bike upright, no question. But they virtually, they reduce the capacity of the rider to do everything else. So there comes a point where you've got to take those training wheels off. Now, when we take the training wheels off, what happens to the young child on the bike? Oh, the bike, the center of gravity is suddenly lost. The confidence is lost. And you know what? More often than not, the child falls off the bike. Learning to sing is not a lot different in the sense that certainly if we are keen on, if we hold singing in tune as the preeminent thing, if it's the absolute, if there's nothing more important than learning to sing in tune, many people, in fact I would go as far as to say most people, can learn to hold their bike upright. And they do that, the training wheels, is with extrinsic muscular tension and tightness and everything. The difficulty with all of that is that it reduces tone, it reduces breath flow, it increases wear and tear on the voice, the agility of the voice to move freely through notes, it reduces range, it literally compresses and reduces every other activity. Most times when students step into my studio, I immediately look to remove those training wheels. Why? Because the sooner we remove the training wheels, the quicker we are going to get to finding that point of center and finding that center pitch and starting to develop better accuracy of pitch. But it won't come. I don't actually, do you know what? Pitch accuracy is not something that I work with students until they're in the intermediate level, where I feel that their breath management is working well, that their tension management is under control, their body alignment is well established, they've got a good sense of vocal tract shaping, and all of these things are starting to be well grounded. Here's the uncanny thing, is often when those things are well grounded, guess what improves? Just informally, pitch. Yeah? The accuracy of pitch will come good. Now, the learning singer has to go through that period of instability, not being sure of themselves, and yes, the notes being inaccurate to start with. But if that learner can put that need, and here's the deal, it's a felt need, isn't it? Learning to sing in tune is a felt need, and it's why many singing channels here on YouTube will speak directly to that topic, in the sense that they will make it the nothing is more important point of view, because it speaks to a felt need of most people. Most people have a fear of singing because they don't want to be heard as singing out of tune. And so, yes, on one level, when we speak to that felt need, we get a good, if I was a YouTube channel that did that, I'll get a good response, because people go, oh, yeah, that's exactly what I want. My job as a singing voice specialist is not always to give the learner what they want, because my job is to know a little bit more about how the human voice works, and yes, sometimes to lead that person along a less trod path, a path that might have a little bit of a longer journey to it, but in my humble opinion has perhaps, I think, a better trajectory long term. So there's my view on it. I want to show you, and I'll be keen in a moment to jump over and see some of your comments, because I can see the chat going pretty wild. But let me show you a piece of software. I just want to jump over here. So we're just about to have a look at this piece of software here. This is called Sing and See. What I want to show you, and I'm going to use my voice to do this, I'm going to show you pitch in real time using this piece of software. Now, this is a piece of software that I don't typically use in my studio a lot, except for when I'm doing the analysis, and I do that to look at pitch accuracy. We do an analysis in the first lesson, and I do an analysis with my students every 12 months or so. It generally works out to. And you can, if you want to jump across to my website, the djarts.com.au, there's a link in the notes sections below this video. You can certainly buy a copy of this if you feel you want to after seeing it in a moment. But you can't buy it from me, in the sense that you're best to jump over and use this link here to order it, and you type in the code Djarts, and that should give you a 10% discount. So let me now jump across to the program, and I'm hoping that this will work. I did some quick tests on it before I started, so hopefully this is going to work. Now, so the way the program works, in fact, let me just bring it up bigger for me so I can see it. The way the program works is it will, through my webcam, and in fact I'm not using the really good quality mic that I would normally use for analysis, I'm just using the mic on my webcam, which many of you will use as well. And when I sing a note, so for example, I hope you can all hear that F3. Yeah. So if I sing that note, yeah. So you can see there's my note. You can see the vibrato at the back end there. I'm sitting down. This is not going to be pretty, everyone. And I'm glad it isn't. I'm glad we get to show you it in real world time. So here's the note. Now this red line is the F3 that I was to sing. You can see that as I started the note, my note, wow, drifted right up into, now that would have been an instant. can I just call you back to the note? Many of you would have heard me as singing the note in tune, because I did. But when we analyse it at a computer level, you can see, whoa, I've drifted right up here to F sharp 3 and come back, whoop, underneath the note and come back here. Incidentally, the distance between here to here is measured in 100 cents, I should say. So there to there, I've drifted 50 cents. The human ear, and I'm trying to remember back now, everyone, but it's the human ear can hear a discrepancy anywhere between, I think it's anything over 15 to 25 cents away from the central note. So you can see here that then I've got this little glitch in my voice, which I felt, where the oscillation of the vocal folds stopped. You don't hear this in real time because I'm not really, the ear's trying to keep up with the acoustic. And so what here, can you see that then my note, when we take out the mean value of those notes, let me just come back around. I'm hoping you can see yes, you can see. So you can see my, all of that there, the mean value of those notes is pretty much, when I've done the vibrato, is pretty much F3, yeah? But can you see just how much inaccuracy there is in that? You know, certainly at the beginning, then I tuned up through the note, and look at this bit here. Whoa, right way down to, what is that, G? Let me come back to the big size here, everyone, for me. Down to D3. I've drifted, you know, a full 2 tones. And so that's a big, well, a tone and a half. That's a big shift. Let's now do, if I sing these notes, ya, let's see how I go. Ya. Now, I purposefully was not watching what I was doing then, as in watching the bouncing ball. Let me just bring this down. So, again, let's have a look at the accuracy of Dr. Dan's voice. Now, actually, it's not too bad. If you come down here, you can see, actually, I'm a little flat here on the first note, aren't I? You wouldn't have perceived that in listening to the voice. Then I've basically nailed the next note, nailed the top note. I would say that's pretty much on the third note. But have a look at this one. Oh dear. I am singing that last note flat. That last F3, I've actually come under the note. Now, when I sing publicly for people in a performance, do you know what? If we were to analyze the entire performance, it would be riddled with inaccuracies. There would be so many inaccuracies in my pitch intonation that if we analysed it, I'd probably get a bit of a scare. But the thing is, most people don't hear me as singing out of tune. They hear me as singing in tune. And certainly I could really work on this bottom note here, this one here, the tonic that I'm arriving back at, and I could work on maybe, you know, not sort of dropping the larynx as I come back to that point of orientation, the original note. But I guess the point is that, should I get hung up on this now? Should I now go, oh dear, I've missed that bottom note? No, I'm not. I can tell you what, probably 5 minutes after I finished doing this hangout, I'll have forgotten about the bottom F3. Why? Because it's not really my focus as a singer. My focus as a singer is the narrative of the piece, is the communication of the song. And if anything, the occasional bum note, the occasional inaccuracy is wonderfully human, and it displays that authenticity that so many of us are seeking in our singing. We have to acknowledge, though, that it is, and this is why I say, if I come back over here, and I'll get rid of that. My apologies, everyone. If we come back to this point here, I certainly don't think it's nothing. It's number 5. Nothing is more important, because I think, when learning to sing, there are things that we should put in front of the scenario. I think it's somewhere between 3 and 4. Yes, it's important. Yes, why is it important? It's important because it is a felt need by most singers. It's also important because your audience unfortunately, they've been trained by things like auto-tune and melodyne, to hear perfect notes. And so when they hear inaccuracy, like really significant inaccuracy, there will be some challenges there, between you and your audience. And so we've kind of got to make sure that our communication is getting through, and for some audiences that is going to mean we need to give them some perfect notes, some not perfect notes, some improved accuracy around our pitch. So I certainly don't want to express an idea that you can sing out of tune all you like. No, it has its place, but I just don't ever want us to become so fixated on it that it's a problem. Okay, so I'll be interested to read your comments, everyone, in a moment as we dive in here and jump across to our Q&A, which we are going to come back to right after this. So I saw a really good question really early on. Going to come all the way back up here, not quite that far. I saw a question from Trace. Here it is. I'm hoping, can you all see that? No, hang on a second. Let me give you this view. So Trace here says, I have a question. When you're transposing a song from a tenor range to a baritone range, what is the interval you would use on average? Good question, Trace. Do you know what? I'd probably, when I'm transposing songs for students, it usually falls into a 1.5 to 2 tones, so 3 to 4 steps lower is on average, and it's really important that we stress on average, because sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes it's a little less. So that's a good thing to do. I'm going to give Matt a question today because he's been crazy busy on the chat, which is fabulous. When doing exercises, depending on your range, I know yours is tenor and mine is baritone bass. What notes are best to start at? Is it better to start at an A, C, or D? Hey, good question, Matt. Do you know what I find is that, I can tell you what I've done on the exercise CD, and many of you have downloaded the exercise CD, which I've just put up again. Hey, if you haven't downloaded the exercise CD, can I just tell you that I do use the funds that the sale of the CD generates to help me do these live hangouts and the videos that we do we have 3 videos a week, one live video on Monday, and then we've got 2 pre-records that go live every Wednesday and Friday. And in fact, I think many of you are going to really enjoy Wednesday's video. We are talking diet, food and beverage. What is best for the singer when it comes to their diet? Got to check this video out. I think you'll get a lot out of it. So, Matt, on the exercise CD, most of the activities start on F2. So they start rather low, and I do that purposefully to involve bass and baritone singers, just like yourself. And then they purposefully, when I actually bring the women in, so you'll hear a good friend of mine, Renee Suddy, a great singer. She comes in and she introduces when the females come in. She always comes in at G. I'm having a look at my keyboard. She comes in at G3, so it's low enough for the mezzos. But of course, they're just guides. Of course, the F2 where it starts is not a guide, that's the start. But girls, you can, if you want to start with the guys at the very beginning, you start an octave up and you just move up as you go. You can certainly do that. And in fact, here in lesson, when I'm using the tracks with students, that's exactly what I do. We don't go looking to where did Renee come in? We just start an octave up with the girls. So hopefully that helps, Matt. Ultimately, the answer to your specific question is, hey, look, it's driven by personal, where do you feel comfortable? But just like we work on our top extremes of the range, make sure you exercise your bottom. So not your bottom, you're not your derriere, the bottom of your range. And when you exercise those bottom notes, you are going to find those lower notes. Go looking for that point of where it feels uncomfortable, plus 1 or 2, but that's plus 1 or 2 lower than when you would normally come in. Don't always just wait until it's perfectly comfortable to start. Exercise your lower notes. I have just seen the time, everyone. We are going to have to call it after one more question. And I'm coming down here. Matt's asking if I've got... I don't, Matt. I'm sorry for operatic singers. Yes, excellent advice, Karen. Get in touch with Dan Minton. And he is a bass specialist from Canada. So you can go looking him up. Coming down here, looking for questions. So I'm going to just jump in here for Kid Silly. But when I go higher, even off tune with good technique, I still feel tension or strain. Yeah, look, remember we all have anatomical limits. And so it may well be, kid, that you are sitting out at the extreme ends of your anatomical limits. I don't know because I don't know you and your voice. But, developing, you want to get to a point where you know where that extreme part of the edge is. And there may well continue to be a sense of tension, but appropriate, positive tension at that end of your anatomy. Coming down here, Trace has made the comment, pitch from a human voice is never perfect. Absolutely. I think that's all we've got. I'm just looking back up because I want to give one more question here, and I'm hoping everything is okay. Yeah, everything looks okay. It's just that the conversation seems to have stopped at a point. Okay, so finishing off, everyone's getting into the illustration. Pitch comes later. Yep. I like this. Pitch comes later. It certainly does. This is my, personal view of it, and it's where I've landed. Look, I think we all start out as wanting pitch to be the absolute and be all and end all of good singing, but it isn't. It's a part of it, and we have to acknowledge it, and we have to develop it. But can I really encourage all of you to place pitch in its right place, and because otherwise you'll be, in many respects, you'll be chasing, the golden, the pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. Perfect pitch by a human voice is, a consistently perfect pitch is you're more likely to find a leprechaun, I think. I hope you've enjoyed today's discussion. I've just seen the time. We do need to finish up. Hey, if you've enjoyed today's video, please leave a thumbs up. And don't forget to share these videos, these live hangouts with your friends and family who are into singing. And we're always looking for more people to join us here at Voice Essentials and join us for the live chats, because as you guys who have been watching the show live, it just makes the program so much more richer when we've got the live chat going. And once again, thanks to Linda and Karen who always hang out with us and keep our chat safe. Thanks for being kind to each other. Hey, if this is the first time you've ever watched one of the videos, please subscribe. Join our ever-growing community of singers from across the globe who, just like you, want to raise their voice in song. We do this live hangout every Monday, Australian Eastern Standard Time at 2 p.m, except we won't be doing it next week because I'm going to have a day off, and as I observe Holy Week, and then we'll be back in 2 weeks. I've got a really exciting program as we head towards the middle of the year. We've got some guests that are going to be coming on the show. So, of course, hit the subscribe button, hit the white bell icon so that you always receive notification to let you know when I'm going live and when I've got new videos, the pre-records going live. As always, I would love to see you hang out with us here at Voice Essentials. But until I see you in the next Voice Essentials video, I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.